G'day everyone, my name's Liam. I'm an account manager at Ammo, among other things, growth marketer. My background is not in marketing. I studied literary and cultural studies, anthropology and sociology. My reason for telling you that is just to let you know you don't need to be a marketer, have a degree in it to actually do the things that we're talking about. Most of the best marketers on the planet are really entrepreneurs that just understand people and communication better than anyone else. So is a kind of an extension of what Alex was talking about. So once you've got all your brand assets, or your colours, fonts, all that sort of stuff sorted, how do you go about implementing that in the real world? What channels, and how do you go about it? And so there's 1,000 different ways you can kind of do it depending on what your business is, whether it's B2C or B2B products, software, an enzyme or bacteria that's devouring plastic. It doesn't matter what it is, a lot of these things I'm going to talk about are going to be useful in different scenarios. Get your brand out there and build an audience before you're ready. I titled this because at Ammo we see so many people who haven't actually spent any time whatsoever building an audience, building a brand, and communicating what they do on any level. All they've done is build their products, and no one's there to witness it or see it. And it's kind of depressing. And if they just do some of the things that I'm going to talk about here, they'll be 1,000 times ahead of their competition as well. Alright, so what we're going to focus on today and try and answer these questions is why you should start building your brand and audience before being fully prepared. What are the consequences if you don't, and how can I apply my brand across all stages of your customer journey? Now, I did send to David this thing called My Funnel. Did he send it to you? Did you have a chance to do it? No? Really? Oh, okay.
Or I thought he did it.
Hey? Yeah, he did it. He's like... Good point there. Well, I'm going to talk about it today anyway, but... I don't know.
We can pull it up after.
Yeah?
What's the tool?
What's it called? My Funnel?
It's called myfunnel.com.au, and it's a little tool that we made at Ammo. And it really will guide you through what your type of business is and show you some of the challenges and stuff like that. So, alright, doesn't matter. So how these brands build an audience and products before being fully prepared. So these are the two I'm going to talk about. I focused on my own business, my own side project, and a little tool that we made at Ammo, just because a lot of presentations and talks and business books will always talk about Pinterest, Facebook, Apple, stuff like that, businesses that are the wealthiest things that have ever been created in the history of humanity. And it's just but it's sometimes not relatable to people who are like, oh, I've got an idea, or I'm trying to do this little thing and make my dream come true. So that's what I'm going to be focusing on. Mine's a physical product, and my funnel is just a little SaaS tool that could potentially become something more interesting in the future. So my business is I make accessories for motorcycles, particularly leather gloves. I can make all kinds of different things, but I just focused on leather gloves as my starting point. I've got 10 pairs at home, so I figured one that's actually perfect for me. And like Alex said, you don't need a logo. All I have is this font here, which took me about 2 months to figure out that was the right one. It's perfect, it's the best font ever, I won't be changing it. I don't have a logo or anything. But what that does, and having such a simple font as my logo, it allows me to just create any kind of t-shirt, any kind of other subsidiary logo or brand identity that I want. So I also make t-shirts as well at the moment, but they're more merch to give a brand identity to what I'm really focusing on, which is these leather gloves. So I've got my brand, I've got my MVB. I didn't have a color. Alex gave me this toxic yellow, and that's all I've got. But I can also then make things with bright red or orange or anything as well. And knowing my customer and knowing the channel Instagram, I know that this is the best place to show off something that's super aesthetic. I also use TikTok. I think TikTok's shit ass, but I like to put my reels on there anyway and see how they go. My brand is actually focused towards people who are more around the age of 25 to 35. Although the mean average of motorcyclists in the West, when motorcycling is a hobby, is around 47 to 57. So it's more something that dads get into after the kids have left and they want to get some kicks and thrills and everything else. So it's also expensive, entry and so on. So and my other channel is Squarespace. It's a basic website, just like how it's suggested, and that's where you can buy some of my stuff. Don't go to one website, it's fucking shit really. I got it up there because Cam, who also works out, just told me to get it up, and I was like embarrassed by it, but I've actually had sales on it and stuff like that, and so that's kind of me getting over that like point where like it's not perfect. Should I start building an audience? Should I try trying to sell? Yeah, I should. It was a good idea that I did that. So, but like these are some of the things and like tactics and actions you can use to actually like get your brand out there into the world and start building your audience. So I use photography and film, developing hashtags on Instagram and boosted posts and reels. Like I found using like boosted posts is like the best way to actually get huge reach for like a minimal amount of money. I usually do like $30 over the weekend or something like that, and I'll get hundreds of followers. Pretty cheap, and it beats like just using hashtags and getting like 2 new followers like initially and stuff like that. So also teasing product drops and getting pre-orders. Like this is my mock-up that I made in Canva. It's a photo of the class I got created in Pakistan, which is where my manufacturer is. I need to put the tags on it and make it look like something that the customer is actually going to get at the end product. It doesn't look great, but it did the job. Sign up soon. Here's the link if you want to buy some. Get some pre-sales. The product doesn't even exist yet. It won't even have it until another like 3 weeks. So that's what I'm talking about when I'm talking about building an audience, getting a little bit of traction before you've even got the product. So I've got nearly 1,000 followers now. I've been doing this since like September last year. And hopefully once I get the gloves and start doing way more photography, way more film, it's going to just like kind of keep leveling up, and I can make more gloves and see where like the brand actually goes. So passion project of mine, but that's how B2C product-based business that has like a super aesthetic kind of profile and a way of going about showing up to the world can get it done. The other thing I do a lot is have conversations and build relationships with people that follow me. And I also like talking to people like local influencers and local stores and that sort of thing. Like, I don't care about heckling anyone on those platforms and having a chat with them, because the people who actually follow this brand, which is very, it's even niche, like riding a bike is niche, but then having a brand that's very, like even the darkness dialed up way more for a motorcycle brand. And what's like the music that I put on everything is all like black metal from Norway and that kind of stuff. The people who are like, they're going to be my first customers are like acolytes, I can really kind of tell. So focus on them, chat with them, even if they're your customers, and it's a completely different field. Doing this, whether it's on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, on the phone, email, get it done, because that's the most important part. So that's how I've been going about building my audience and creating that content before I really built the product. The second product we're going to talk about is my funnel. So, a bit of backstory about this. A couple years ago, Alex and I, we thought about making a product that we called Barden, like it was a guy for Dante with our company, and it was for like small businesses who couldn't afford marketing. We were getting a lot of phone calls from them at the time at Ammo, and like we just wanted to figure out some way we could help these people understand how to do what we've been talking about today, and then even the technical side of creating ads, campaigns, and that kind of thing. And so like maybe about a year and a half ago, we got an intern named Kai Lovell. Kai's like, was he like 16? Yeah,
16-year-old genius.
Yeah, he saw what we've done there, and he's like, I want to make this into something that's like a physical product, like a software product that can actually work. And he made it to a certain degree do what we were kind of thinking, because it was a lot of work. Alex and I made emails in MailChimp, put all that tactics in and send it out every week. There's a lot of design and a lot of like hands-on work. So what Kai did was take that, he created, I don't even know what he did using Integromat or some logic jumps with sequences and numbers.
But it's important to say that he hacked it together using software that already exists in the market, like things like Google Sheets and Zapier and Integromat, and just connected them together in the back end. And it wasn't pretty, but it was it was like an MVP. It was like an MVP, sorry.
Yeah.
And that they would put out into the market like as soon as you possibly could, instead of having to invest like $50 or $100 to $200,000 in like an app that's fully built, and then you find out if the customer wants it. Instead, you sort of take together this sort of thing that works, and we're able to talk to the customers like at such an early stage in the development of this product.
Yeah, exactly.
Get feedback.
Yeah, and so in a completely different way to like what I did, Kai chose LinkedIn as his main social channel for communicating my funnel on. He actually didn't even have Instagram or Facebook because he wanted to talk to like people at the age of 40 who wore suits and stuff. He chose Product Hunt, which is Product Hunt. I launched Product On, and Redflow was the place where most of the heavy lifting for the brand was done, which Alex created as well. This is like a basic MVP that Alex created too. And that was how that started getting thrown into the world. And so this is Kai here, using LinkedIn. So really the first thing Kai started doing was using his personal LinkedIn profile. Kai was working on his own personal brand through LinkedIn at age 16. And so that was actually had a greater voice than it would be to actually start a My Funnel LinkedIn page or Instagram or Facebook to actually sort of, start bringing this thing into the world. So he made vlogs like 2 or 3 a week documenting the process of creating the product. This is something you could do with what you're doing. Anyone here who's actually a research project or anything like that, something that's going to accumulate and take a long time to do, I think that would be something to look into. And he used that to communicate with all these people on LinkedIn who are starting businesses, who might even have a business and need marketing. So he also engaged in Zoom calls with all these people as well, soliciting feedback. Would you pay for it? Would you share it? We go to the startup news. This is terrible.
I did that.
Free tools to give startups ammo. My final product launch, so all of this here, as you can see from what is written here, was leading up to throwing all this sort of users straight over here. And Kai's goal was to get, I think, in the top 3 on Product Hunt for the day. I think it was 6, because Canva just released like a video tool or something in videos. But it's okay. And even to this day, my funnel is still getting up to, it's got 1,287 people.
I just have a short question. So if this is a free tool, where does the income come from? Like, is this just nice to have and out in the world as like a charity project, or is that actually?
Well, it could be part of our funnel where we do say built by Ammo on the site.
Okay, so it's
yeah,
but
I actually
of Ammo, not something new, like not.
Yeah.
Okay.
But we are. I really want to see what we can do with the ChatGPT like this year, because I think that we can add a ton of value integrating that into what we already have, and then it would turn into its own product, I guess. But
at the moment we've got a lot of data in there.
yeah,
This will be like about 10 a day, and there's no marketing. Kai's not talking about it anymore. We don't talk about it. It's just on Product Hunt. And if you type in like marketing funnels, it's probably like the third one that comes up on Google just to the SEO.
and also every single one of those 1,287 people have given us their email, so we can get contact them with them at any point and say, here's the next phase of my funnel or some other relevant communication. And exchanging an email, you can count that as a it's a transactional interaction that they're having with you. You're giving them something, they're giving you something, and you can use that to demonstrate, that there's a need or a want in the market. You can use that to kind of get to the next stage, or maybe secure like early stage funding for great ideas.
Yeah. I mean, it's not something we'd actually send around an email from Ammo and say, hey, you want some marketing help with that, because it's not branded Ammo, it's branded My Funnel. It would just seem like a sleazy marketing tactic that someone's opted into something they haven't, and that happens all the time. I suggest avoiding it, otherwise that's going to give you brand degradation and Ammo. That go for us to do, so avoid that. So this is just a completely different strategy of going about building an audience and creating content. It's totally different to mine, which relies heavily on film, video, and creativity in that kind of area. This is something that's been created. It just pumps out all the data due to your inputs, and people are finding it super healthy. So it's got plenty of good reviews. 13 in fact.
So I can just out of curiosity, when you're building something, it's a good idea that even if it's not fully complete, that in somewhere like LinkedIn or those places, you just show your journey of how you are developing it should, because it's not fully complete, you may change it, some of things may not be really good, but is it in general a good idea?
I think so, because people, they love stories and they're attracted to that. They want to see this young kid who's out there creating something.
But if you are not a young kid,
It doesn't matter.
It's like 40 years old, but you say you must have already figured it out.
No, I don't think it matters. Like, Kai's not something like super extroverted, charismatic guy. He's just someone who's out there creating something. People, they get interested in.
The cool thing about Product Hunt as well is, sharing my funnel on Product Hunt is distinctly not finished, but that audience is used to dealing with products that are not finished. They're the early adopters. They want to see the hot new thing. They want to see the app today that everyone's using tomorrow. And so you should find the audience that has that expectation and is along for the ride with you. That's going, we don't care if it's not finished. We're just curious about what's next, and we want to see what you're working on.
Yeah.
As opposed to like giving it to people who are expecting perfected product that they're not going to need to figure out like the bugs and stuff themselves.
The ones that require perfection are the ones that will jump on board after all the
marshmallows
have had it going. They're giving it great reviews. So
and you're not worried that sorry.
That's
By doing that, you're exposing your ideas out there that someone may actually pick that up. And before you finish it, they finish it, and then.
Well, if it's the kind of idea where someone can see it from the outside and copy it and do it themselves,
It doesn't.
it's probably not a defensible idea.
But also, what did Andy say about ideas?
Yeah. Also, is someone really going to go, well, that's a great idea, I'm going to work for free, I'm going to work unpaid on it for potentially 2 years in my evenings while like losing sleep over it and trying to find all this time working on that idea that I don't even know if it's going to work, and I'm just going to, half the time people don't even think your idea is a good one externally. It's only you guys the inside and vision and the pulling.
And also, if your brand is really strong, it's impossible to copy that as well. You can't see
If your brand is strong, but
Yeah.
But even if it's not, I think that one of the things about showing your journey is people usually want to help you, right? So if you're putting out and you go, hey, look, I'm struggling with marketing and branding, has anyone got any advice? I can guarantee if you chuck that on LinkedIn, someone's gonna be like, hey, yeah, I read this blog, you should check out this. Or, I'm struggling with this piece of engineering. Someone in the room is gonna come up and give you a sketch. People generally want to help.
Yeah.
So if you just put yourself out and build those touch points, the other thing is, as Larry was saying, is like investors don't just invest in your idea off the back of a 30-minute meeting. But if they see you around the ecosystem and see some noise about what you're doing and where you're going, it builds trust. You're not just someone who's come up with vaporware, looking for investment, and you're going to kill it, right? If people can see that journey, they connect with your story, they connect with you as a person.